Hi, my name is Alicia Lehrer, and I'm the Executive Director of the Woonasquatucket River Watershed Council. Thanks to Notable Works for making sure everybody knows that we can all make a difference in making our world a better place. And thank you so much for highlighting the work of the Woonasquatucket River Watershed Council and our beautiful Woonasquatucket River and its whole watershed. I'm just here today to give you a couple of updates for 2021 on what's happening in the Woonasquatucket. First off, we are just completing a new strategic plan, and as part of that, we're creating a new mission statement, which is to create positive environmental, social, and economic change by revitalizing the Woonasquatucket River, its greenway, and its communities. I'm so happy to report that after many years of study, the Centerdale Manor Superfund site restoration is finally underway. If you are unfamiliar with this site, unfortunately in the 70s, there was a chemical spill on what was a site or a chemical barrel washing operation that is now Centerdale Manor and Brook Village. And it released a lot of dioxin and other pollution into the Winasquatucket River. After many years, this is now being cleaned up. The source area here at Centerdale Manor is now completely clean. There's some beautiful walking trails right through this area. And the next area to be cleaned up will be Allendale Mill Pond, an area we call the Oxbow, which is a wetland area, and Lyman Mill Pond. And just for frame of reference, Route 44 in North Providence is right up this way, and down here, Lyman Avenue in Johnston and the Woonasquatucket Greenway end is right on this side. As a partner for EPA and the folks that are cleaning up this Superfund site, the Woonasquatucket River Watershed Council has some input and recommendations because we are representing the community. And one of the things that we are highly recommending is that as a restoration piece to give back from what was destroyed, we're recommending that we continue the Woonasquatucket Greenway from where it ends here on Lyman Avenue all the way through the Superfund site. And we want to make sure that North Providence and Johnston have equal access to this new section of Greenway if we can get it built. So we're also recommending that this road that goes right by Allendale Mill Pond called Allendale on Allendale Avenue gets restored as a connector for pedestrians and bicycles between North Providence and Johnston. We're also working on building climate resilience. This is a big initiative for us. If you all remember in the 2010, there was some pretty extreme flooding on the Woonasquatucket River. And this is what the Onlyville neighborhood of Providence looked like at that time. We're working with a group from the Natural Resources Conservation Service to do a flood resilience study throughout the entire watershed, starting in North Smithfield, Gloucester, and including Smithfield, Johnston, North Providence, and Providence, to determine what we can do to make sure that that type of flooding doesn't happen again. But we're also making sure that we're engaging the neighborhood that mostly receives the floodwaters, and this is the Onlyville neighborhood in Providence. We've just started a cohort of 20 residents that we're building capacity with to build their leadership skills and their understanding of the issues so that they are fully prepared to weigh in on what happens in their community. It's a really exciting group, and everyone in the group gives their thoughts on what their priorities are in the neighborhood, and they're very generous with their time. We conduct all sessions of this group in both English and Spanish because there's a lot of Spanish speakers in our group. Also, for building resilience, we have been installing what we call green infrastructure, which is a fancy way of saying using plants and soils to capture and treat stormwater to both prevent it from running off directly into the Winasquatucket River, but to also clean it. It also has wonderful co-benefits of making our areas a lot more beautiful, a lot more livable, building habitat for pollinators, and it puts to work a local workforce. In this picture, you see our own River Ranger team. These are the guys that maintain the Woonasquatucket Greenway, guys and gals, I should say. And they're doing all the landscaping installation for our green infrastructure projects. They also install signage at each one of the projects to explain to the community how they work and why they're important. In neighborhoods like Olneyville, where there's a lot of Spanish speakers, we make sure that the signage is in both English and Spanish. Another exciting happening is there is a new section of Greenway being designed on the Gotham Greens property, which is on the corner of Harris Avenue and Atwells Avenue in Providence. This Greenway will go right next to the Winasquatucket River. But the really exciting thing is that in conjunction with the work being done on the 610 connector, we're going to join the Winasquatucket Greenway and the Washington secondary bike path on this site. So this will help all of us connect more green spaces throughout the state. And speaking of greenways, we're just redesigning the downtown section of the Winasquatucket Greenway from Eagle Square, which is up on this end, all the way to Providence Place Mall. And we'll be changing the entire neighborhood so that people have a lot more access to the river. They have more parks, they have more canoe and kayak launches, but they also will have separation between bikes and pedestrians and cars. So we're going to be narrowing some of the streets like this one. This is Kinsley Avenue, which will be narrowed to 1 lane, and adding in that green infrastructure I was talking about, partly as a barrier between the cars and the greenway. The greenway will go on both directions on one side of the street and then cross over to the other side of the street, or I should say the river. And we'll be adding in a lot more signage and art spaces and places for people to gather. So keep your eye on this downtown section of Greenway over the next couple of years. Our final designs should be completed this year, 2021, and we expect to start construction maybe toward the middle or end of next year. And by 2024, this whole area is going to look completely different and make a really strong connection to downtown Providence and Water Place Park. Those are my highlights for today. I just want to thank Notable Works again for being a champion for all of us to work together to make our world a better place to live. If you want to join us, and I hope you do, visit www.wrwc.org and join our mailing list and hear about all the upcoming exciting things that are happening. Join us for a paddle or a hike. Join us for a cleanup event. We welcome all of you. Thanks.